Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing today? Wow. What an interesting time to be alive, guys. We're taking our time back here. Crypto in the morning. We are, hold on, make sure you can't hear that. You know, we were just talking, Sam, in the background on the Twitter spaces about the lie that we're all sold about our time and that it's not valuable and that you should pay someone to give them your time. And then you should get a job that everyone else is competing for while you pay the person for 8 years, 10 years. That's the lie that you're sold in this country. I don't know about other countries. I can't speak for all that. But if I did it correctly the way I was supposed to, I'd have been in school still. I would have had no money, 100% debt, would have no house. And that would have been me just nailing it out of the, home run for Jim Rat, And that's what I was told. Luckily, I had problems. Now I'm realizing every day that goes by, those problems were just, I didn't want to do dumb shit. I didn't feel like doing whatever you were telling me to do because it felt like it had low value. To me, Sam. To me. It felt like it had low value to me. I couldn't speak for everyone else, right? I couldn't tell everyone else. And this was just me at the time, right? Like, you guys can all agree, school or not, 18-year-old Jim Rat should not be in the educational field. He needs to be running or like doing something, punching, doing something. Like, I'm not at that age. I just need to be active. I wasn't meant to sit down yet. It took me some years. Guys, let's talk to the chat real quick. The chat is absolutely buzzing. What the hell is going on? Terrafin, first one in here. Absolute alpha male. Dougie. A-Bit. Gunther coming on. Guys, Gunther's coming on the show tomorrow. We're going to show you some parts from a year and a half ago when he did the OA address audit, so we can let Sam know what kind of expect, and we can all jump through all that. Guys, OA audit, 100 hours of research. Gunther absolutely nailed it out of the water. Everything he says in this video came true today. Literally, Sam. Just like he crushed it. He was like, all the whales sell. Once they sell, it's going to shoot up. It happens every time. Everyone gets so scared. And we're right in that moment where he was explaining a lot of that, Sam. So it's very interesting. Melv Tony, how are you doing? Crypto Rangoon. Great to see you, Hexakin Tattooer. It's great to see everyone in here. Wow. Share this out, guys, while we're getting ready. We're going to put on the butt mic from the start in a minute. And Tyrannosaurus Hex. D-Hex Angelus, great to see you. Peter G, good to see you. I need a hex name. I couldn't agree more with that. The Gym Rat thinks you should have a hex name too. KS, great to see you. Melf Tony, great to see you. Crypto Maxter, first time in here? I don't remember that emblem. Great to see you in here. Monica Mofit Meals, Alan, great to see you guys. Hexican Papa, RG3, leg day, what you got? Every day is a leg day when you have a 20-pound python in your jeans, RG3. A 20-pound python in your jeans every day is a workout. You understand? So I don't need leg days. All I have to do is jump on my toes. Super physiological, dopaminergic, manic morning monologues. I love it. I love it. Chad, you are my guy. Matthew Lopez. Crypto Bigfoot, always in here. Hex Pimp, nice name. Elliot, guys. It's so great to see you. Ooh, Fashion Coder, where you been? Excuse me? Come on now. No way. Gerardo, if you're up and at him, Gerardo, send me a DM on Twitter. But if you're not, obviously it doesn't matter. RG, you too. I might have questions for both of you guys. If anyone wants to have a little spicy morning in about an hour, jump on with me and Sam after it's all right, Fashion. We know you're working hard over there. All right, guys, we're going to play the outro video. Sam is in makeup. Yeah, he's still in. And he is putting on his brand new hex.com hat. He's eating liver and shoving it up to the screen right now. Disgusting, guys. This is the best crypto show in the world. The most comprehensive detail. We love this shit, and we are going to dominate. And Hex is going to moon. Pulse chain, people are not ready, dude. They don't get the math. They don't get the software. They don't understand any of it. But they talk and they talk and they talk. But guess what Jim Rat does? I'll talk right over him, baby.
Young folks, you dripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Hart. Richard Hart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Buy my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Buy my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the HEX, he is mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died, collect. HEX, I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Buy my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Buy my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Getting this back like a year ago.
What up? Are you there, or am I turned down? I can't hear you.
Yo, I'm doing awesome today. A beautiful morning. Just got back from the gym. Did some legs, and about to get into this OA audit video, which is going to be super interesting.
Tell me, what do you know about the OA? What was you? Do you have have you gotten there yet, as far as your research, or you just kind of have been like looking at the outside, and now we're getting more in it?
From my understanding, it's like something around 90% of the supply is owned by OA.
It slowly lowers, but yeah, it's under 90. But
yeah, and that I haven't dove in to actually check that and the quote like other addresses associated with the OA to see what's actually going on. So I'm super curious to actually pay attention to this, because that OA has a ton of there's a lot of stuff that can happen with that would be a good exercise of one's time if they're planning on putting all of their time and or money into something to fully understand it. And part of the understanding is knowing what's actually going on with the OA audit, right? Like if you were going to start investing into real estate, it would probably behoove you to understand real estate on all the different facets, right? If somebody is planning on putting money into HEX and thinks that that's going to set them free, financially speaking, then they should probably understand all the different aspects of HEX, including what the OA address does, what those other daughter or whatever you want to call them addresses are also doing to get a better picture of what is actually going on. So I'm super curious about this. A little later on, we're going to cover some stuff on crypto debt. There's a couple different ways to take a look at that. So we're going to cover that in terms of the collateral, whether it's a stable as collateral or a volatile asset, like a regular crypto as an asset to borrow against. And then depends on what you borrow. If you borrow a stable against either one of those, or if you borrow another crypto that's volatile against it, it presents or changes the risk profile. But I don't think a lot of people have actually.
The main focus of the stream today is to show Sam and myself. Well, I was looking into Gunther because he's coming on the show tomorrow. So I was doing all my research yesterday while I was doing yard work. I was listening to some videos, and I watched one with him and Blue Bum. Blue Bum was the Australian fella that came on here. He lives in South Africa, actually. You remember him?
Blue Bum? Oh, that name sounds so familiar.
Were you? You were here.
I was here, but I don't know who that is.
He's an Australian fella. He's tall. He's very proper. He's very nice. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He came on the show. And you're a dick for not knowing him, by the way.
Who was that? Who was that, bro?
His name's Bluey.
Well, I remember Blue Bump, but I don't picture a visual.
That's all right. It's all right. Anyway, you'll see him in a second. Anyway.
Oh, it was the Australian dude talking to Hedron. I remember now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Cool.
So basically, he was talking to this guy on April 24th, 2021. So that's when this video is from. I just plugged my internet in, so it should. I drilled a hole in the ground and just plugged it into my computer.
through the foundation of the house. When I went to show you the liver pre-stream with the honey on it, I dumped honey all over my keyboard, so it's nice and sticky. It's nice and sticky now. Hope you're well. I'm looking forward to this thing because I haven't watched, as you know, I don't watch.
It's what does this mean? Feudal at the end. Feudal.
Like.
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, you're not gonna make a difference. Like,
well, you gotta understand shit to understand shit. Like, you know, yeah, you could tell me about sex all day long, but unless I start sniffing around at some couche, I'm not gonna know what's going on. You know what I mean? But this is all just out of my curiosity for what Gunther's done. This was in a time, Sam, where people didn't know the intentions of the OA. But now, as I expand on this knowledge, like, you got to understand that there is ways to not connect yourself, right? This is all what this is a rabbit hole that I've decided to go down, right? And it's a waste of time, sure. but do I certainly like to do it? I certainly do.
But it depends. What do you define as a waste of time? Like going to the gym? Like
it's
how I do is a waste of time for some people, right?
So RG, but what's the point? Like, what's the point? Is your point, RG, that? And I'm just asking, obviously, is your point that even if stuff was happening, we would never be able to know? Is that kind of your point? I'm asking in the chat.
It might be that it's there's so much information that trying to grasp it all is futile. Like in terms of there's so much vastness of it that trying to grasp all of it could be very, very challenging.
But what do we always talk about, Sam? What do I bring up over and over again? The negative externalities, right? What's the major one I always bring up? Short-term staking with whales. Anyone with a brain that starts thinking about it for more than a month will start thinking the same way. It's just the way you think. So I started thinking, what's the short-term staking strategy of whales? Then as I started asking people, like, who are the smarter guys in the community? Like, who should I have on? I started to realize, like, some of these guys I could ask questions to, right? And it just quickly started, like, really my learning curve was started to change. My scope changed very quick because I started talking to guys that were, like, thinking like this. They didn't care about the money, you know. They weren't talking about, this was not about what am I incentivized to do? I don't give a fuck. I don't need your money. So it does, like, you don't have to watch. Like, I don't need your shit. I could outwork you. I could outplay you. I could outdo anything. Like, I'm trying to show everyone that
you're going to win no matter what. And
you can do it. If you're the one who's going to do it, you're going to do it. This is what I love to do. I love to dive into projects like this, learn shit so hard that it's gross. And it's sickening. It's very sickening to a degree. But this is my life now. Who's calling the shots when they wake up? I have no master. I have no one. And this can be a business partner too, guys. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. A business partner and a job are the same exact thing. You have another man you have to rely on or think about or justify for, or you go to bed thinking this way. I don't go to bed thinking shit about what Sam's thinking. He doesn't go to bed thinking about shit about what I'm thinking because we don't have our money tangled up together. Because we knew as a mental unbiased journalism, you know, that's what we like. Me and Sam, it's not like this is what every man needs to do. This is what me and Sam like, and I knew that about him. He knew that about me. So it's just perfect because we can just get to the bottom of things, whether they have an opinion, he has an opinion, a dude with $100 million has an opinion, a dude with $10 has an opinion. It's like, I don't give a fuck what you're all telling me anymore, period. Because the opinion of somebody with $100 million is directly proportional to what their money is involved in. Period. End of story. Their whole incentive base is located on against that. And if
nobody's talking about that, dude. Nobody's talking about that. No. But like people are like, oh well, Warren Buffett says crypto's a scam. Where's Warren Buffett's money? Warren Buffett has $100 billion plus as in USD. Do you think he is going to say that this other thing is a good investment. No, he has all of his money in USD. Of course he's going to say USD is the thing. And this other thing is a scam. And it's not going to last. And it's just that and the other thing. No fuck shit. Like, yes, 100%.
If HEX is as good as it is, we should be able to punch through this. And this is why I'm so controversial with it, because I don't care so much. I don't think HEX is going to be affected by anything that I do personally. That's just my belief. Like, maybe there's a million different things that could happen and you could think about those. I think good things move on without, if certain pieces fall away, like there's no one person in HEX that could fall away, right? It's not me. It's not RG. It's not RH. I mean, it could change the rate of things, but I mean, when is passive immutable yield going to go out of style? I want to know, when does that go out of style? When does free money parked online in a safe place go out of style? The value prop for that, but again, that's why we're getting into the OA right now, Sam. So for anyone in the comments that thinks it's silly for me to get into the OA, I have to decipher all this in my head. This is a long-term investment for me. You know what I mean?
I think it's a good use of your time. Like, by understanding what he's talking about in the video, as well as what Gunther's going to cover tomorrow, it helps you create a mental framework to understand things. When we don't understand something, what we try to do is we reference our past history, right? We reference our history of understanding of the world. And so by understanding what this video is going to cover, as well as what Gunther's going to cover tomorrow, gives us this framework to basically create reference for future things. And if you believe that crypto is going to be here for the long term, if you see your financial bag in crypto continuing to expand, then understanding this allows you to have the mental framework you can think of as a tool.
Exactly. And if you know the way the OA accounts operate, another great point, Sam, let's say that you knew nothing about the OA or any of the specifics, but you knew there was a $50 billion stake coming out or whatever. And you were like, oh shit, the price could go up or down. This is sketchy. But if you knew that account never had made a move before, I might know that. You might not. I don't have to worry about the bags after that day. You might. You might make a mistake because I know more than you. Sam.
Yes. No, that's how it was with Tesla, bro. 100%. I understood what was happening. Other people had no idea what was happening with Tesla. That's how I was able to make more money than most people, because they didn't understand what was actually taking place.
It has been the best monetary policy of all time. Nothing new under the sun. It has stood the test of time, and now it's on the internet is all. RG's jacking me up, baby. RG. Looking swole. GRC. Guys, thank you so much. Everyone, take a second and share this out. If we're about to start the OA audit video, just one of the videos I was watching. Unfortunately, Gunther's not actually present in the video. He's just talking, but Blue Bum is. And I think it was just a very smooth, like, good transition into what I kind of want to get into. So everyone, let's smash the like for a second. Let's play one quick video real quick just to jack everyone up. You can't join the fitness challenge, but you can get prepared to lose some weight this summer, guys. It is absolutely time for you to take control of your health. We have guys in the Telegram group that have lost 50 pounds already. 50 pounds. Another one that's lost 38 pounds. And yeah, they're big boys, but come on, guys, we're crushing it. We're crushing it. And they're back in action. Like, they're going on walks. They're guys. If you want to get ready for life, we got to make sure we're in this together, guys. Let's play this video.
Let's go.
for my cardio last night at 9 p.m. My second round of cardio at 9 p.m. last night. I was like, damn, I didn't do my cardio. Need to get that done. And watching that video, I was like, oh, glad I'm staying on track. I'm glad I'm showing up for myself every day. That's what you guys should be doing as well.
Yes. Hey, Sam, can you let me know if this video is lagging at all? I plugged my internet in, so it might react a little different than it has in the past. So I'm going to play like 20 seconds or so and just let me know.
Sweet.
Like it's such a massive undertaking to tackle the auditing the origin address because there are so many addresses. And yeah, so I was just wondering, like, if you could tell us a bit about how you decided, how and why you decided to tackle that audit, and how you went about doing it.
Yeah, that's a good question. So as some of you know, I'm in the HEX chats, primarily in the HEX trading chat and also HEX bear chat. I know it doesn't make sense. I'm a moon boy, but I spend my time in those chats because they're a lot of fun. But anyway, I kept noticing, I basically was just tired of everyone selling, like the constant dumping for 4 consecutive months. It was really just if anything, it was just really annoying. Like,
Oop, it paused.
No, I know. Remember, guys, remember the date on this video.
What's the date? Give us a, because we can't see it. So if you,
It was April 2021, April 24, 2021. So they were having a very similar problem. What?
I'll pull up the price chart so we can see what was happening around that time frame to give it a little bit of context.
I think that's a great idea.
Because that will give us a better understanding of what was going on.
But it sounds like he was in a frustrated position. So let's look at the chart. It sounds like they were a little bit frustrated at this point, Sam, because of the whales, just like right now, right, Sam?
Right.
People right now are doing the same thing, Sam.
They're very frustrated.
They're saying they shouldn't be selling. But I want to know why they say that. I'm confused a little bit still. So
let's go back. When was that?
April 24th, this was published. So
okay. So that was taking place.
What was the price?
Right there. So right here on the right side of the chart, it was
0.016. Now back up just a hair. Let's see what the public sentiment was. All right. So the public sentiment was pumpy poo, right? So this was right after a nice pump. Just look back at those 3, almost exactly the same, right? Very similar in structure. There's a little zit on that one, but
right there.
Yeah, but so in general, guys, in Crypto Games Clubs, the crypto.com commercial came up for this channel. Sweet. That's dope. That's kind of cool as fuck, actually. That's really dope. Seat for greater than coffee. Yes, sir. Crypto Bigfoot. So yeah. So guys, basically what can you extrapolate from that, Sam?
So it looks like
they were getting bearish. They were bearish. They were pissed.
In the year that led up to this, the price went from like 0.0012 roughly 0.00, so like 20% of 1 penny to nearly 2 pennies, 1.016. So we had a massive run up. What does that actually come out to be? 0.016 divided by 0.002. That's an 8x. So in the course of a year, there was an 8x increase in the price, and apparently it just come off a selling or a peak, right? So there was a drop off here. And
so everyone was saying, why isn't it going up? Why isn't it going up? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's go back to the video, and that gives that great context. So again, Gunther's coming on the show tomorrow, guys. So any questions in the chat, just make sure you write them down.
Like, why is so much dumping when you have such a valuable asset? And I remember right before big payday, as most of you recall, we went from a point of like where I'd say probably 10% or so or thereabouts was staked, and then all of a sudden overnight we're like 98% staked. And I thought that was I was like, well, this is definitely the behavior.
So did you hear that, Sam? You're muted.
It went to like 98% staked.
I'm gonna play it again. Okay, just pay. Just pay attention.
If you use the arrow keys, press play and then use the arrow keys. You can go ahead.
With staked, and then all of a sudden overnight, we're like 98% staked. And I thought that was I was like, well, this payday, as most of you recall, we went from a point of like where I'd say probably 10% or so or thereabouts was staked, and then all of a sudden overnight, we're like 98% staked. And I thought that was very. I was like, well, this.
What is he referencing?
Big payday. You know, big payday. So big payday was when that big jump on the T-share chart, right? You remember we looked at it yesterday. So there's a big gap on that T-share chart. We can pull it up actually on a. What's that website called? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So big payday.
How do you get to 98% staked?
Think about it. I don't know. I got to think about it, but he's right. I got to think about it more while we listen. Okay. Because you know that big jump's there. So let's keep talking.
Correct.
And guys, we're just talking about this. Yes. So so Sam, this whole thing I'm bringing up right now is big payday in like all of this research that he did. This is all realizing that the OA was pushing the price up. That was the point. Like, that's the point of all this research, right? Like, it went from saying like, oh, the OA could be a bad actor, or like there, whatever FUD there was, to like, this was like definite concrete information about the OA is the reason. And they're not incentivized to take any money, and they don't. So it was just showing, but I'll keep playing it.
Interesting.
This is definitely the behavior of a controlling entity, which we basically refer to as the origin address. I say entity or entities. We actually don't know who owns it. I really don't care who owns it, to be honest. It could be one person. It could be multiple people. I really, really don't care. But I noticed that everything was like almost like instantly overnight, like staked over the period of like a few days. So I decided, after all this dumping and knowing all of that information, and also knowing that most of the people in the HEX community suspected for so long that the origin address dominates the HEX market, I actually wanted to go about and actually see if I could, I guess, demonstrate that that was true with quantifiable data.
What do you think about any quick words on that, or you just want to keep going?
I'm curious to see what the data is that he shows.
Fantastic.
So with the big payday, did the OA address get a lot of HEX?
I don't know. I can't get off where my mind is because I don't want to move away. I'm kind of learning too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Guys, the reason I'm doing all this is because if me and Sam are going to be accurate in the future, how can we not know the past? Sam, that wouldn't make any sense. Imagine if guys came up in here and they're like, you remember this? And we're like, we don't even know it exists. Stupid, dumbest thing I've ever heard. So if you don't think I should be doing this, you're stupid. Okay.
And so then that's mostly my motivation for digging into the origin address.
Yeah, brilliant. And how long did it take you?
Low. Definitely over 100 hours for sure.
Wow.
Most of the time, I didn't even calculate the hours. I just worked on it for several days straight, like a hermit in my house. But yeah, like most of the time was really just spent going into hex.vision, researching the addresses that entered the adoption amplifier, copying and pasting all that into Excel. And then you have to like get rid of all the formatting, filter out like all the duplicate addresses.
What was the adoption amplifier?
Data, that kind of thing. And then I just literally.
What's the adoption amplifier? You're muted.
Go ahead and look up the actual definition right now in adoption amplifier HEX, and I'll explain it to you with the chat's help.
Okay, adoption.
So the adoption amplifier, Sam, was when that big jump in the T-share rate was. Remember that? You remember it on the
Okay,
chart,
so
right?
big payday was the same
Oh,
thing.
wait, no, fuck. I'm sorry. Damn it,
Here.
I just got all backwards.
That's all right, but that's why we're doing this, so we get a better understanding of what this actually is. Okay, here we go. I pulled this up here if you want to read through this.
Oh, yeah. So adoption amplifier, we exchange ETH for HEX. Okay, so let me read this real quick. Adoption amplifier explained. Adoption amplifier. Get HEX directly during the 351 days. No middlemen with their fees and friction. If you don't already hold BTC, it's probably better to use AA instead of free claim. So you remember, Sam, the free claim part?
What was AA?
Adoption amplifier.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about now. So AA instead of free claim, it's likely you'll get more HEX that way. If you already hold BTC, you should use both. You can hold BTC for the snapshot, then sell for ETH and join the AA lobby day 1 and free claim day 2. The adoption amplifier mints HEX for people that want to transform ETH into HEX. Send your ETH to the lobby daily. Your percent of the ETH sent to the lobby transforms into the same percent of the HEX available that day. I don't care about this.
Okay.
Go down to the why is it important. I got to look at the specifics another time. Why is the AA important? To onboard the 99% of the world that doesn't have BTC, that didn't have BTC at the snapshot, great point, refers can't get people time travel back before the snapshot and buy BTC. True. They can onboard users to the AA. Onboard more users globally with no middleman is massively important. Probably 10x adoption. More on-ramps, more adoption. People do not want free things for free. People want expensive things for free. People need to be invested emotionally. That means sacrifice something of value or watch the nest egg for a year grow.
Interesting. So it was just basically a...
Go down for launch timing one more time. I want to see that launch timing down a little bit. So days 2 to 351, Sam. That's when the mints less equal 1/350th of the claim. So it seems like it was within the 351 was when it happened.
Okay. This is during the period of the T.
It was basically an ETH sacrifice. It was basically an ETH sacrifice, Sam. All right, I'm going to send RG a link and a wrench. I'm going to send RG a link and a wrench, all right? I'm sorry because Bullish is out of the office today. I'm just joking. I just haven't talked to him this morning. And
okay. No, that's
so I'm going to know, but let me do this real quick. Add moderator. Got you. Jump over here, invite. Got you. And I'm going to play this video for a little longer.
I'm going to have some liver.
And I'm going to mute my mic.
Went through every single address. I should say that I first started off with a spreadsheet that was put together by DOSBomb, where he looked at all the addresses that the origin address sent money to, and with those addresses, I really didn't dig too deep. That's in the first section of the Excel spreadsheet, by the way. Those addresses, I was basically just tallying up the totals, looking at all the liquid coins that was present in those addresses, and then also researching those addresses to see how many coins were staked, and then I was able to use that information to calculate the T shares that the OA entity owns. But then after running those numbers, I first released that information publicly. I found that the OA really only had like maybe 53 or 54% ownership of the network. And I thought that was really low. And somebody suggested like, hey, why don't you dig into like the adoption amplifier? So at that point, I went into HEX.
That's interesting. That's interesting because if you have the
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Tank top and everything. What's good?
Wow. Hell
you're
yes,
muted.
dude.
You're muted.
You're looking absolutely ripped. You're muted.
There we go. Yeah, just got out of the gym. You guys inspire me, man. I've been,
Yes.
got Got to get where the kids are. You guys are looking great, man. One of these days. But it's all in the kitchen. It's all about the kitchen.
Dude, so RG, we could basically ask you all these fucking questions, I guess.
All these questions. I don't know how well I'm going to answer them because, look, guys, one of the things that I like doing is like Gunther and I are really good friends, and he talks to me on a regular basis. So when all this was going on, I kept close with him, and he would feed me, fire hose me all this information, you know, and most of it spilled out. But I knew what I needed to know because I know macroeconomics. I know how macro affects your life, and learning the micro shit and getting yourself all what I like to call like freaking analysis paralysis. You'll just start digging into rabbit holes. And when I found out about what the OA was and what it was doing, and when I saw it move for the first time after the adoption amplifier phase was over, I realized and knew that all I needed to know about the OA is that it was a good actor and that it was helping us. And that when we did see monster macro moves, that it was doing it for a reason. And so this adoption amplifier
but it is important to know that, right? Like for the people that
exactly. And that's what I was, when I heard you speaking, I was like, he's absolutely correct. You need to be, so what I needed to do was internalize this and go, okay, I'm okay with it now. I understand the information, and now I'm cool. And now I can make the right decisions.
Makes me feel better. Makes me feel
my
more
financial
confident.
Situation. Because everybody's different.
Confident.
Yes, you should.
If I'm going to trust our age intellectually, just talking about like the stuff he talks about in general, Bitcoin, he's been right. He's crushed it. And then he's going to transfer over here. What am I just going to start thinking like, oh, he's going to run? Like I bought into this guy because I believe him. I think he's being honest. I really do. It's not so much about what's going on. And then what do we know about financial institutions? They're all manipulated, centralized. Okay. Every single one, every good one, every one, because that's the easier way to make it work. It can work other ways, but this is the easier way, probably.
The thing that people need to understand first and foremost about the OA is just put up Hex Boy's chat there. Hex Boy. The OA is a Hex feature. It's not a who, it's a feature of Hex. The OA has created the De Beers model for Hex. Everybody knows that there's tons of diamonds out there. There's tons of diamonds. There's lots of diamonds. Diamonds are really worthless when it comes down to it because there's so many of them. But De Beers has done something by taking and hoarding all the diamonds and locking them away and letting little bits out and quality bits out. So now the price of diamonds has increased. The want for diamonds has increased. They created that scarcity by creating what they call the De Beers model. And Richard kind of replicated that by building the OA. And however the OA operates, functions, we don't know. We don't know if it's an entity, a group of entities, or what that operates it. However, what we watched was, when was the first time that it was going to move? When was the OA going to do something? Was it going to do something nefarious, which everybody in the crypto space outside of the Hex community was talking about? We all had our worries and doubts. Believe me, that OA period, that first year was nothing to be freaking. That was shaky.
Dude, I cannot imagine, dude. I cannot imagine what people were saying. Imagine what people were saying.
It was insane. And any of us that had any faith or confidence in it, you know, those of us that are in the chat right now, we were getting pounded for being, you know, Richard Hart maximalists, freaking cult guys, you know, followers. And what we were all in the back rooms talking, like Motley's in the chat now. After our streams, we would all sit in the back room and we'd go over this and over this and over this. And we talked about Gunther's, you know, what he's watching, what he's seeing. And we were watching the Ethereum come in, go out. We were watching the whales. They were moving on those days. We would all get in thinking that we were getting a good price that day. And then the whale would push the price up and we'd get less Hex. And there were days where it was good and days where we lost, and the whales were playing whale games. And that's what everybody's got to remember, is that we're all in a different position in Hex. We're all in a different position monetarily, our age, our risk tolerance, all of these things. Everyone's different. And you've got to see, you know, are you a guppy swimming with the sharks, the fish, the sharks and the whales? I mean, all that analogy is perfect, because you know, in order to be a shark, you got to swim with the whales and eat the fish. In order to be a fish, you got to be able to eat the little fish. The little fish got to eat the crustaceans. That's just the way it is. And so you've got to figure out your positioning. And with everything that's going on, how are you going to swim best? How are you going to feed yourself? You know, because all we're seeing right now is something, again, guys, nothing new under the sun. These are financial games that have been played forever. You just have to go. This isn't new. This crypto thing isn't new. What's going on here isn't new. Whales buying and selling and dumping and shaking out people is not new. This has been going on from the beginning of finance. So we think that we're like looking at something different. No, it's just on the internet. That's all. It's just money on the internet.
What were some of the behaviors that were actually actions that the OA was doing?
Well, the OA was collecting the Ethereum, and then it was moving it into wallets, and then it was being pushed out. And some say some of it provided liquidity, some of it was doing this.
So the HEX is coming in, and then Ethereum's coming in. HEX is going out to these other addresses.
No. Ethereum is going out to these other addresses. HEX was just being accumulated by the OA and by all of the people that were buying into the AA lobby. The AA lobby was just a daily sacrifice of ETH for HEX. And nobody knew what the number of that HEX was going to be based on how big that pool was. How many people and how much Ethereum was going into that pool every day was based on was going to tell you how much HEX you got for your Ethereum. So you could have went in there in the morning and put down 100 Ethereum and you had 100 HEX just for numbers sake. And by the end of the day, a whale came in and dumped a whole bunch of Ethereum in there. And now you're only getting 25 HEX for that 100 Ethereum. So that's what the AA lobby was every day, dealing with that, looking at the whales, watching them move. And then it was like, okay, at one point there was a time where arbitrage happened and the HEX was cheaper or on the exchanges versus AA lobby. So people were trying to arbit. And then we saw some movements that stopped the arbitrage. And at that point, that even angered somebody who was arbitraging, and he started FUDing HEX, built his own coin, the whole thing. It was like our biggest dip at that time because he jumped out and FUDed the whole thing and brought a bunch of people.
What was his
with
name?
him.
Or is that not allowed to say?
I don't even want to talk about that fucking clown.
What's it start with? The first letter.
Well, his project was Weiss token.
Okay, I just wanted to know if it was someone.
A cat named Peter, and he's a freaking pleb.
So
there's lots of the same people.
His people came at me. Yeah, his people came at me, and whatever. It was just they were some of the people that were creating, you know, crap in the beginning, but so they were trying to do what they always do, which is arbitrage. And if you could FUD and arbitrage at the same time, it's a very easy thing to do.
That's what Tangent's doing. Tangent's doing that right now. Tangent, I'm talking to you, buddy. You were on the show yesterday, FUDing Maxi. You were wrong, incorrect about everything you said. Listen to me. You were wrong. I was right. I just because I did my 1-for-1 and I reaped the absolute gold from it doesn't mean you can talk down to my sweet Maxi. Okay.
Okay. So you would have to give context, but you can do that later.
Go no, the guys in the comments know what's up. That was war yesterday.
And so anyway, that guy that did that Wise thing, he made some critical errors in doubting some of Richard's game theory and turned his token into something a little different just to spite Richard. And he thought he had the right plan, and it failed miserably. He made some really critical errors when it came to providing liquidity and locking liquidity into the DEXs, and it ruined them. So they've been trying to play catch up ever since. But that man had 150 million HEX at one point, and
so he had started dumping, and that's, you said the price of, that guy left, and he was dumping his HEX, and that's when you saw a big
and then we all started buying at that point. And that's when we really got heavy into the streaming. We started streaming harder. We started coming at him. We started saying, you're wrong. You're making a mistake. And that's when the community developed and grew. That's what
we're watching right now, right? This is like parts, like I was watching you, Motley, all these guys last night, right? Like from a year and a half ago, right? Roughly a year and a half ago. And it's, you guys were doing what I feel like I'm doing right now, feeling the same way, right? Like you were thinking, you were learning, you were like, holy shit, your eyes were all big all the time. You were like,
Yep.
oh my, you and Motley were like coming up with new ideas in your head, like that you haven't thought
Yep.
about yet, you know,
Yep.
for the first time. And it was like, oh my God, it's so inspiring. And then
But
hearing
here's the
guys,
problem.
what?
Here's the problem. We thought we were coming up with new ideas,
Well,
but
you
when
just
I
learned.
started doing some, when I started doing some research and looking at history of financial products and pumps and dumps and whales and how things move in all different markets, not just in crypto, but in stocks and bonds and real estate and all these things, I found out and realized that this was the same old games. It's the same old games. There's nothing new. Now, we have some nuances because there's some new game theory because of how these things were created, but that's always the case. It's just a little twist on everything, you know? So there's a little twist here, and we just had to learn the twist. But then that's what stopped me from doing monster rabbit hole research, and what stopped me from doing analysis paralysis shit, because a lot of the streams started turning into that. It's like, okay, learn the basics, learn macroeconomics, learn the cycles, and operate within that cycle as your financial situation deems, your time horizon situation deems, your risk tolerance deems. So everybody has to do, look at the big picture, but don't analysis paralysis. Look at your picture even more. The analysis should be on yourself. What can you do? How do you fit in? What is your play in this, ocean that's going on out there? Are you a whale? Are you a shark? Are you a dolphin? Are you a fish or a shrimp or any of those things? How do you function in that? How do you dollar cost in? How much of your investments do you put in there? Those kinds of things. You have to analyze your situation, not so much the situation that's going on in crypto. You just need to know what the macroeconomics look like. Like, look, I knew that the OA had us on edge the whole time the AA was out. That was a whole year. We were like, could he scam out? Could he run with all this money? There was always, no matter how confident we all were, there was always a little bit.
Richard was active online as far as presenting this information kind of as he is now, right?
Yeah, he would come on our streams.
Yeah, so he was still like just saying the stuff just like he is now, just the truth. And he was kind of just letting you guys know, man, while he gave you the room to grow. Like he never was like, RG, you son of a bitch, like you're so stupid. He was just like, they need to learn.
No, he was.
Well, yeah.
In Richard form. They all did. No, because I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Never have been. But I knew I didn't need to be, because I'm richer than like fucking most of these people in here. Being the dumb guy, I'm still richer than like most of you fuckers. So the dumb guy won. Ha ha! My theory wins. Yours may be taking you down a rabbit hole.
Your theory fucking wrecked. You won, dude. I mean, you guys smoked the show back then, having faith like crazy.
Well, one of the things that, the dumb pirate came up with was, hey, emergency end stake and restake longer. You guys all fucked up. I fucked up, so maybe you fucked up too. Stake longer. And I got people that thank me to this day, dude, you made me richer because I did that. Because everybody staked out for a year. Everybody was staked out hard for a year. And then they're like, because I'm going to collect my millions and I'm out of here. And then people were like, oh shit, this thing is really not doing anything nefarious. This thing is really going to go. Oh shit, share price is going up higher and higher and higher. Holy crap, I bought those things for 60 cents. Now they're 150, 300, $500. Oh shit, I fucked up. I got emergency end stake my shit, pull it out and restake it longer. And guess what? When I did that, I got 1/3 more T-shares than I had before. And now my bags are expanding like nobody's business over those 15 years because we did stuff like that. And
PVM says RG3 saved my life, dude. Screenshot that. PVM always giving props where props is due. He's basically saying you saved him by giving him some information about the way he should think about this.
Yeah, and like Molly just said, RH was learning stuff too. We were all kind of learning what was happening. He was like, damn, that was new. I didn't think people would do that, but that's the right way to do it. So we all started learning this in the beginning. Now, the one thing that I knew, and I was still uneasy, I'm going to admit to it right now. I was uneasy until Big Payday about the OA. I was. And I didn't see coming some of the real smart guys saw what was coming, and I should have saw it too. But the way Big Payday worked is that, all of the bonus crypto, the bonus hex that we were going to get was based on how many Bitcoiners free claimed. So there was a pool of hex, and that pool of hex was being given away to Bitcoin free claimers. Okay. And it kept dwindling down as Bitcoin free claimers would come in, but it was a big pool of hex. And at the end, when the big payday came, the rest that was left over that wasn't claimed was going to go to all of the stakers. We were going to get it. So if you were staked out, you were going to get that. And it was monstrous. It was so big. Like we were all looking at that number going, oh, holy shit, we're going to get this big old bag of freaking hex. It's so
like
awesome.
what like, so if you have a large amount, say, you know, 1 million hex, you're getting 2 million hex, or you're going from 1 million to 1.
It was like 2.5 at one point. I mean, it was so big. It was so big, right? Like, and then it started dwindling. And then what we saw was right before big payday, people started buying and staking hex for like 30 days. Buying and staking for 30 days, buying and staking for 30 days. So price of hex started soaring. The amount that we were getting in the adoption amplifier for big payday, or I'm sorry, and for big payday was going down lower and lower and lower, but it was still big. And we were like, damn, man, these people are front running this thing. So what did the OA do? The OA said, I'm not going to give all this hex to all of these guys that are getting in for 30 days and going to dump it on the heads of all my stakers. So what the OA did is it came in and it staked so much hex that pool dwindled down to nothing. Like, so that those people that were going to dump, now all of us hate.
Wait, can you explain that? Can you explain that again? So going into there, we see, like I would do that, right? If you're like, oh wow, there's a big bonus happening in 2 weeks from today, if you do this action today. So it's like, it makes sense to do it.
So everybody was staking, right? So everybody's staking, buying hex and staking. Price of hex is going up.
Oh my God, I did not know Wales
bigger,
was in the green room. Wales is in the green room. He got hidden under my little icon there. Wales.
There you go.
I didn't hear the beep. What the heck? Hold on, guys. Hey, biceps in the chat, guys, for Wales.
Yes.
Throw a bicep up, RP. Come on. I need it for the screen.
So, what's up, Wells?
What's going on? I actually didn't want to interrupt because this is a great story. I was watching from afar at the time.
So,
please, let's just
I'll
keep
finish
going.
up real quick. I'm almost done.
After he finishes, I'd love to hear your side of it too.
So we're watching the pool grow, and Motley and all of us were like, these guys are front running this thing, man. They're, you know, and I didn't see it, but some of them did that. Boom, we were going to get dumped on by these guys. As soon as their stakes came up and they got all their hex, they were going to dump it, right? So the OA comes in and stakes a fuck ton of hex. And I couldn't give you the numbers at this point, but it was a ton. And it dropped us all the way down to 30%. So we were like at 2.5 multiplier of hex that we were going to get because of the bonus. And that bonus dropped all the way down to 30%. So we only got a 1/3 of our bag.
And that Sam, that was that jump, right? Remember you asked why was this? Why did he say it went from this percent to that percent? That's what they were doing. That's what that was
on big payday
in the video.
Yep, and that's what jumped the first big. So it laddered the share price like this, went bink bink, and we knew it was going to happen. We all knew that was happening, so we were like, wow, it's going to be going, you know, continue to go up and to the right. But what the OA did was, it didn't act nefarious. It acted into the good of the stakers and the people that were staked long. It did something good for being a good actor within the ecosystem. So if you were a good player, you did the right thing. Basically, the OA rewarded you by not letting those people dump on you. And it took all that hex from them and didn't allow them to get a hold of it and dump it. So it didn't stop the dip. It still dipped, of course, but it didn't dip as hard as it could have. And that's because of the OA. Now, at that point, I knew what the OA was. I knew it was a what, not a who, that it was there to protect us, that it was there to protect the ecosystem. And who knows what it could do in the future. If it needs to regulate on exchanges, or if it needs to help regulate hex, it could act as a kind of a Fed, you know, type situation. So that was all I needed to know.
I started looking.
What's that? Oh, so
My bad.
so that's
I
all right.
accidentally turned on video.
All I needed to know at that point, I'd heard all of it. It's gone here, and some of it's gone there, and some of it's gone here and there and there and here, and boom and boom and all over the place. And there was just all this rabbit trail, and then it would end up in a tornado cash situation, and you'd lose it, or it'd go into an exchange, and then you'd lose it. So it was like, okay, well, what's the use of climbing into that rabbit hole? I know what the OA does. I know what it's there for, the De Beers situation. I know it's acted in good faith to long-term stakers. So I know what it is. It's a good function of HEX. Do I need to go down the rabbit hole and find out where everything's going? Some say yes. I say no. I need to know macroeconomics because I ain't got enough fucking space left in this brain or brain cells left to try and get all that shit.
In every financial institution that's successful, like we always say, this is how they do it. I mean, not directly same tokenomics, of course. It's totally different. But they support their own shit. They market it. They fucking buy it back. Like they do what they can to support their own thing. And so really, it's just a digital version of what we've already seen. Just like RG always says, guys, we have another special. It's really weird.
Oh shit, we got us a reunion here going on.
It's really weird watching videos of you guys from a year ago, like all night and like kind of taking notes, and then like
awkward
redoing it like the next day.
I can't watch it.
It's almost like a time
video.
warp. Like it's a time warp, and I'm just a part of it now, and it's odd.
But you know what was even more is that like we'd stream all night for like 3 hours, and then me and Motley and the rest of the guys, we'd
4 or 5 hours in the green room
for 5 hours, like just freaking brain melting on
now don't let the captain fool you. He was one of the first to leave. He's like, all right, you fuckers, like I'm going to bed.
That's the old man's bedtime, man. I'd have to leave.
But yeah, we go to like 2 or 3 in the morning easy every time.
Oh yeah. There was
lots to talk about.
Conversations.
Yeah,
RG, that would be me. I'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm going to bed. It's been awesome."
I had
Bob guys like, "Gym rat, stay up. We got like." He's like, "I'm teaching you shit," and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it might be a good time to cut it at that point.
So guys, what we went over today was basically when you guys figured out that the OA was serving a purpose that was basically not extracting value from the system and allowing other people to have it, right?
During big payday, yeah.
But like in general, right? Like, because you guys might have not known, or whoever at the time was like, wonder what these wallets are doing, right? Like, I wonder what they could be up to. You never know, right?
Yeah, that was the initial FUD you guys were talking about early with Knightley, and he made the first copycat of HEX. Like that was one of his biggest gripes, was like didn't really understand the OA, so his copycat was going to eliminate the OA. It was going to eliminate the OA, and then it was going to lock liquidity. And both of those ended up being just absolutely terrible mistakes. Yeah.
What happened to? Did anybody look at the Ethereum that was coming in during that AA?
Yeah, it was a lot of HEX holders, bro. A lot of hexagons washed out with that because a lot of them, same thing, didn't really understand the OA. So like what you fear what you don't know, and a lot of people actually left and like, yeah, that's right. Like why should the OA get all this HEX, or if it was put in Ethereum back in? We just didn't have enough history, enough like to see what the OA was doing. We didn't know if it was good, bad, whatever. We suspected it's Richard, but we'll never officially be able to say yay or nay to that. We don't know if it's a group of people, but we just didn't know what its intentions were. We didn't have enough to go off of, and people just feared it. So like that was the first FUD. The first copycat eliminated the OA, had locked liquidity, and clearly they just didn't understand what they're doing. And if you go and look at that copycat chart, it's just pure death. And there's actually, I think there's still hundreds of millions of Ethereum locked up in their liquidity. And like, yeah, cool. All that liquidity, but the value of your token is plummeted to like 0, and now people just have that Ethereum's just locked away, which is kind of nice. I like that the creator of the copycat doesn't have access to it.
Ethereum?
Oh, it's over like, or at least peak Ethereum times. It was well over $100 million.
What about the Ethereum that was coming in during that phase of AA, right, where people are basically sacrificing on a daily? What did anybody check to see what was going on with that Ethereum?
Yeah, there's chain analysis. So like Gunther was one of the main guys that was really digging deep into that. I honestly didn't care too much. I just had my plan like every night before like 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. I can't remember what time it was. I would just see how much Ethereum entered the AA lobby for that day, and then I would just figure how much like I was going to put in relation to, right? So like if there wasn't that much Ethereum in the last couple minutes of the AA lobby before it closed out, I put a little bit more in. If there was more than the day prior, then I put a little less, and I would just recalibrate myself.
And the OA audit actually covers all of the Ethereum addresses down to like 20 Ethereum. So like if you look at it shows you every single one of the adoption amplifier all the way down to like, roughly a handful of Ethereum. And I don't even know how far he digged past that. So that's exactly what I was researching at the time. Is basically Gunther was going through some of that, like that. The AA stuff, right? Like what we're all talking about right now. Like,
well, that was some of the FUD that people threw out early on because it did look like, and I've never actually gone and verified myself, but people have done the chain analysis that looked like some of the Ethereum was washing back into the system, right, and buying it up. So it's like, well, if you just get the coins and then just come back and buy, that's not really fair. And again, that was some of the first really extreme FUD we have, but they've never sold a single coin. Like it turns out. The majority of the supply was actually just going into diamond hands, so it worked out well. But a lot of people just didn't like that, right? It did at the time. They didn't understand that the central entity was doing that to protect the project in its infancy, not hurt it.
Yeah, protect the price and to keep arbitrage from getting out of control, because arbitrage was getting really on days where there would be a big disparity between what was on the exchange and what was on the AA lobby. So that would leave an arbitrage opportunity for somebody. And then we'd see a big dump and people were using it versus like trying to level into the system. So the OA was helping to regulate some of that. And so everything I saw, it was acting like a good actor. And then I'd hear things from like Silver the Antidote and Gunther. They were doing the early chain analysis on all of this stuff, on what was going on. So all I had to do was know that, okay, well, step back and find out why is this Ethereum moving? Why is it going into here? And what is happening within the ecosystem? And we were seeing arbitrage in the early days of the AA lobby. We were seeing people do this. So once it started to get regulated, then things started to smooth out. Once we got done with that big FUD and that guy dumped all of his HEX and he's the one who really started all the FUD. And I call him by his first name. His name is Peter. And he was the one that really kind of started the monster FUD, and it got everybody's eyes on HEX and the OA, and it just went viral through Twitter. And then we were just like bombarded. I mean, that's when the real battle started, and we were like,
that's when you guys started streaming a lot more.
Yeah, we were in it. I mean, every day we were taking arrows and swords and you name it. They were coming at us hard, and a lot of people left.
Silver the Antidote, I asked you to come on stream. You said you don't really like going on YouTube streams, and then you popped up on Hex Tangent stream. And I was a little bit confused because Hex Tangent's calls have been wrong for 6 months straight.
I think everybody needs to.
It can't be a respect thing, right? I mean,
Tangent's a little emotional.
I've got so much history with all. I mean, a couple of years only, but so much history with all these people. And not everybody is a bad actor or made, some people have made mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes, but to be I guess defined by a mistake, these people have all done a lot of good things in the community and worked really hard. Like Silver, he's worked really, really hard. And has he made mistakes? Has he said things? Has he done things? Of course he has. We all have. But we can't be defined by those. We have to go back and look at history and see what everybody's doing. We're all learning this stuff. We're all trying to make it in this thing. And so I think everybody should just kind of give everybody a little bit of slack and see the value of everyone and what they've done in here. Because like everybody has passed on a lot of good information. Like I said, like Silver was one of the first guys doing analysis and bringing it out there. And, it was good information at the time. Again, deeper than we needed to go. Because really, when it comes down to it, you just have to look at the macroeconomics of everything and how your investment strategy fits within that. Not everybody in this stream right now has the same investment strategy. We all have different investment strategies, and not everybody has the same size bags in this stream. So, everybody's going to be different, but you got to look at the macroeconomics and see where things are going. And hey, and if you want analysis paralysis, but there's something to be said about learning from somebody else's mistakes, or learning from people who have the wisdom and the knowledge of the past that you're looking at, so for what it's worth, all the work that guys like Motley and myself have done over the last 2 years, shit, man, just go back to some of our old streams and look at our channels and see some
That's
of the
exactly
stuff.
what I do.
Watch how we discovered and watch
what
how
I
we
do.
talk now versus how we talked then. And that should be a hint and a half for your ass, because we've become extremely successful in Richard Hart's ecosystem, beyond successful. I mean, that's how good it's gotten for us. But that's because we continue to trudge through this thing and keep going, and take some of the stuff and throw it away, and take some of it and accept it.
That's what I try to. I was having a conversation with a newer Hexakin in one of our Telegram chats a couple days ago, and that's what I was trying to tell them. It's like I realize that sometimes us as the OGs can be less sympathetic because we are in that secure position today. But then I related back to him. I was like, I am in that secure position because I continue to do what I did back then today. And that's continuing to DCA when the opportunity presents itself. And like, now it's that opportunity, right? Like, so like I made a buy a little while ago, and now I'm just waiting on more capital to come in. And I'm going to do the same thing. Like, I mean, it's going to get worse, guys. Like we're in the bear market. I'm sure Wales can speak on the macro economics of what's coming our way, but I think personally it's going to be getting worse. So I'm getting as much dry powder as I can now and just prepare for it. And that's what's got me through each one of these dips, each one of these copycats, FUD cycles, everything we've gone through. And then that afforded me the ability to be in a much more secure position than I am today, that maybe necessarily I wouldn't have been during the first 1 or 2 dips. So like I try to be understanding of what new guys are coming in, but the same actions that got me to this point are what I continue to practice today. And it's irrelevant of my position in the ecosystem.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the macroeconomics for a minute, and I'm gonna point to Wales on this one after I ask the question. So, I'm not clueless, but I'm just going off of what other people are saying at this point. My friends like Motley, everyone, but I don't know the deets, right? Tell me. Obviously, bear market. Obviously, Fed's raising rates. Obviously, shit's going down, right? But as far as how far HEX can go, and I would love if you could comment on these upcoming stakes that are coming out, because I've been trying to research like upcoming stakes, but I'm still kind of like just haven't prioritized. Can you just tell us the macro scene, since you're the macro guy?
Wales.
You might be muted, or
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
You're
I was
good.
like,
we need Marco here to be like Wales mute.
Did you hear? Did you hear what he was saying?
Yeah, I heard him. So it goes like this. When bear markets start, everybody reacts, right? And what's happening right now is that everybody's realizing that the risk side of the market, Bitcoins, the hot stocks, the momentum stocks, the Netflixes, the tech stocks, all that stuff, that party is ended. And everybody's just now realizing that party is ended, right? Like they're just now realizing it, not realizing that the top in Bitcoin happened in November, not realizing that the top in HEX happened in September.
They've been in the bear market.
Been in the bear market. It didn't just happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Tangent.
So,
We're talking to you, Tangent.
Been in the bear market, and they're just getting the taste, right? Wales, like it's
right.
going,
Like
it's
they're just
it's
figuring
really
it out.
ramping up.
Yeah, they're just figuring it out, and we've been a lot of us have been talking about it for a year plus, and some people are just figuring it out. And the whole thing about it is inflation is hitting. Like stagflation is going to be a problem now because now people have left the economy to the point that they're employed. Like people are self-employed and surviving now at a greater rate than ever before. So employers have to try to find. I mean, RG, you work still, right, to a certain extent. How hard is it to find employees because of that?
Hiring everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can't find
I
them.
see signs everywhere.
And I'm paying well for guys that. I mean, I never got the rates that I'm offering these guys, and they're turning it down because they can go get more.
That's right.
Like, holy
Dude,
crap.
it's wild. I've never seen anything like this because everywhere I go, it's please hiring.
Please.
Everyone's got a skeleton
Please.
crew. They're paying maximum amount of money they've ever paid, and it's just not enough. Like people are
Not
just
enough.
like no. And I don't know what's like so well. So like, what's going on there? Like, are people just not working? Like, how are
Right,
people
it's a tough
surviving?
one. This
Are we
is what
like?
I think. This
Oh,
is what I
scary.
think. What I think is that people are honestly just saying it costs just as much to get to work, to and from the work, as it does to work. You got to eat at work, right? Because when you're not home, you got to pay for food if you're not bringing it from home. And a lot of people, when they work far from home, they got to travel, commute far. They don't have the time or the energy to get home and cook. And if they got kids and all that, forget it.
$7,
even
$8 gas, childcare,
Oh,
food. By the
what?
time you finish your workday, you're probably only bringing home about 2 to 3
Bro.
hours of what you worked that you can
But
actually put cash in your pocket.
Who
if
actually
that.
wants to go into an office like that? Like I quit working 3 years ago.
But
And
that's
it's
the
like,
point.
why would anybody want to do that?
But
today?
that's the point,
Lots of
right?
them.
But that's the point. Now people have so many other options than they've ever had before. People can do Uber. People can do Uber Eats. They can do DoorDash. They can do all these crazy different things and make money
That didn't exist in the
that
past.
didn't exist in the past. And they're not encapsulated within that unemployment number. They just no longer exist within our economic system. And it makes it seem like if everything is all right. But when you're looking at the rampant inflation and you're looking at the wages that are being paid or offered, and then you're looking at the fact that these employers are not finding employees, you got to ask yourself, what the hell is going on? Food, like, how are the supply chains getting convoluted as well? So you got all this printing that happened over the past 2 years that, people, some of us have been screaming from the rooftops, all hell is about to break loose. Right? Like all these things are just now finally coming to a head. So it's all of these different, like imagine you have like 5 asteroids enclosing on the Earth at the same time. That's basically what's happening right now, just to the economy. And people are just now realizing it. It's crazy.
Tangent wants to debate RH, but I think he needs to get through GRC first. There are levels. I agree with that. I need a moderator for a debate with this Tangent, and it might just ruin his career. No, I'm totally joking. I
like Tangent.
every day. He's so nice that to give him shit, he never gets mad at me for giving him shit. He's like, no, dude, it's cool, dude.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, you're supposed to say fuck you. Like,
yeah. He's like,
He can't. He doesn't have it in him, man. He doesn't have
yeah,
it.
he's like, dude, I get it. No, but I love Tangent. Tangent's awesome.
Wales, do you have any thoughts on the last part of what GRC was actually mentioning in terms of there's several hundred, at least, I think it is several hundred million hacks that are coming out over the next week.
The bow wave.
In terms of stakes.
Well, hey man, let's hope whoever that is dumping. That's all I'm saying.
I'll speak.
These shares like a dog right now.
Please,
I'll speak on it because you guys were killing me with this shit yesterday. Like, look at all this hex coming. I was like, oh my god, here we go. It's like, all right,
no, we were learning.
So,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I know, but it was painful.
And that site is not like abundantly clear to people who are new. Like I have no idea. I've looked at billion sites.
Well,
usually nothing happens if it's a lot.
What it does is it just gives you all the information on there, right? It's up to you to kind of go through, piece out what's important to you, how to navigate it. But that one,
Hex.Vision?
They were on Hex.Vision, and that one's great for a lot of graphical representations of what's going on, especially the staking one that you guys were looking at. And what you guys were seeing is like what the community is lovingly called a bow wave of stakes, and those stakes have been coming out forever for the past year now, and that continues just to move along the line because you have larger players, mainly OGs, that have been here the longest, and they have 20 million stakes, 50 million stakes, 100 million stakes that they roll monthly, maybe quarterly, whatever their preference is. So what you start seeing is a large accumulation of hex right at front that always looks like it's coming out, but in fact when it comes out, they just roll it over. They take whatever yield they want to, and then they just roll it over. So they're losing out on the T-share game for the long run, but they're okay with that. Their bags are large enough currently, and they just continue to move these short stakes. So you see this, what we call a bow wave. So as the ship is moving through the waters, as we're going through the HEX timeline, those stakes are always just moving out in front. So if you're new, you come in like, holy shit, there's billions and billions of HEX coming out this month. Like, what's going to happen when that hits the market? And usually the same thing that always happens. Take the yield, take whatever you want, and then restake the rest. And sometimes they break off chunks of it, send it out longer. It just depends what they're doing at their life at that point. And eventually some of them do get out. And like Wales was saying, I hope they do. And then you take that opportunity and you scoop the dip. Like we saw like Whale 13, maybe he was trying to expedite the capitulation a little bit there and sold like 40 million HEX. It's still an opportunity to scoop cheap HEX, right? And like we're going to see this over the next couple of months. And it's a prime time, especially for you guys that are newer, to DCAN on the way down, because I mean, we could see some pretty amazing. I am getting probably the fattest bag of cash I've ever had in the ecosystem, ready to buy this shit up. And I could potentially, if we hit some of these price levels, like I could potentially 50%, 100% my bag with this cash that I'm trying to get in. Like, and I've been here for 2+ years. Like, if that doesn't show you how much opportunity is like coming your way during this bear market, I don't know how to explain it to you.
And see, and that's the game.
There's
That's the
opportunity
game.
in your beach house and me living in the basement. That's the opportunity for me. Me finding a nice little cozy
But you got to look at the game, man. The game is, okay, whales are going to play these games. Like Motley said, that bow wave, it's a real thing. It's really always happening. So how do you position yourself to DCAN when one of these does dump on the market or one of these doesn't dump on the market? You just sit back and go, great, my T-share prices are going up. My T-shares are getting more valuable, because all they're doing is pushing the T-share price up every time that they start doing these things, and they move the T-share price. So, and they may not move it as much as like a long stake would, but they're still moving it.
RG, how much money is enough money for some? This is my one question.
It's never, it's just a little more.
I know,
Everybody wants a
it's
little
never
more.
enough. I know it's never enough.
If you got billions, you want a little more. If you got trillions, you want a little more.
At what point is cutting off a chunk? I guess once their chunk becomes that small, which they're taking off the end of, because
you gotta have a plan, man. There's no
It
answer.
just depends on the
question.
person, man.
You gotta have a plan. You
Different
gotta have a
for everyone.
plan. You gotta have your life planned out in terms of how you want to spend your finances. There's no
But
question.
how many doubles before these people are so rich? Not like the people here, but like maybe.
Oh, you're asking for some other people? There's no. There's people.
No,
that
I just mean like
game.
people. Let's say trader dudes or
Nah,
somebody.
they're just playing a game, bro. They're gonna do it forever. There's no end.
It's just like
saying,
it's just like everyone's staking ladder. It's all
when are you gonna stop
individual,
breathing,
man.
GRC?
Yeah, when are people gonna stop selling Bitcoin? I guess
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about it. Every time they push the price down, they shake people out. So what happens is they push the price down, they sell, they watch everybody run out, and then they start buying again. And what did they do? They increase their position by a percentage. They know that they're going to be able to increase their position by a percentage, because there's going to be all of those plebs that are going to wreck themselves at the bottom of the market. They're going to get scared. They put their last $10,000 in. They've got 3,000 left, and they want it now because they're afraid that it can go to 1,000 or zero. So that's what's happening, is that the plebs are getting out and increasing the percentage of gain for the whales. And the whales love that. That's what they do. They move themselves around to get the plebs to give them their little percentages, and their bags keep growing.
That hack is not as bad anymore. I'll tell you, the hack does not hit like it used to. Like, I mean, and at these prices, I'm like, man, I could just do a side job and then I basically get all my shit back that I had.
You need to.
I didn't know this would ever happen again. None of us did. Obviously, we didn't know how low, when it would go.
Yeah, it's gonna get. You don't think that a whale can drop this to 3 cents? You better think again.
But I was worried because at the time when I got hacked, the movement was so bullish. I was like, this might never. I might be screwed forever. Not forever, but I was like, oh my God, that was my bag. My
hard to recoup. Man.
And now I'm like, oh my God, another opportunity. Like, thank God. Like, it's incredible. Like, absolutely mind-bendingly exciting for me.
And this is one of the things that I've kind of had a problem with you, GRC, is like, I know you quit your job. You do an amazing job on the show. The Crypto Fitness Challenge is awesome. You and Sam do an amazing job. But I really would like you to like grind, even if that's picking up a side hustle like Wales was saying, do
Well,
Uber
Motley,
something.
we do things.
Well,
on
hold
the
on.
side
Let me finish because like
Let
this.
Motley finish putting his foot in your ass, son.
Because
And then
I
I'm
get
gonna
it,
give
man.
it a shot.
All right.
You're doing
in his mouth.
you're doing an amazing job, man, but you're giving up so much an opportunity because look, I know your bag. I was helping you with when you lost a lot of it too, right? When you got hacked. And like I know you need more, sir. I know you
Yeah,
need more.
I
And this
know, but at the
and this
same
is the
time-
opportunity to do so. And I know you don't want to fucking go back to your 9 to 5. Find something that you're mildly content with, even if it's part-time. You have all these options where you're like Wales was saying, Uber, whatever, and just get some side capital, like take advantage of this opportunity. This is where people get wealthy, and you will have this luxury for the rest of your life to do this whenever you want at your leisure. That's the whole name of the game.
Still
Even if
dollar
it's
cost averaging the same way I was when I was working, same amount. So
Same amount.
until that goes away, I'm not fucking going back to work. I'd rather
Mm.
die.
same amount.
I say
What I'm gonna do is continue. I do stuff on the side though. I don't document some of the stuff I do on the side for sure.
Okay. Let's not say on stream then.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
I don't document that.
If you talk to my close friends, they'd be less worried than you are, like on the feet. But again, I don't like to document everything that I do on the internet. But I know exactly what you're saying, and you're 100% right. Like there's not a point you're wrong about. I'm a very odd ball guy, and I don't find making money hard. Like making money to me, not difficult at all. Like, so I have a couple revenues streams that have been working great for me, and I've kept it right about. I lowered my cost basis so much, and I'm right about at the same dollar cost average range that I was when I was doing before.
That's the key, man.
So it's like $1,000 a week.
But that's the key. The key is you're controlling your expenses and always trying to increase your disposable income.
Yeah.
Because look, I streamed yesterday, and I know you were in there, but I don't know if you were in there the whole time. But the whole premise of my stream yesterday was trying to get people to understand that they need to look at their pocket as if it's a balance sheet, right? You got to have cash, but you also got to have crypto, man. But here's the thing. As we know, we need fiat to live. Until further notice, we need to find a way to create that balance in our pocket so that we're always accumulating that thing that's going to give us more fiat, because fiat is a disintegrating asset. It's not something we can rely on. So we need to have that thing that's going to give us a foundation to get more fiat. And I'm sorry for the background noise, but I live in fucking New York.
Yeah, well, we're with this bear market, we're entering that kind of phase of cash is king, and it's like a balancing act, right? Like you do want a lot of cash so you can buy these depreciating assets. You know, they're finally going on a damn discount. It's about time. And I know for me personally, like the assets I want to hold during the bear market ones are going to be the yield bearing ones, right? And especially something like HEX that just gives you that kind of isolation in the crypto market, and it has some of the best yield that's ever existed. Like it's a no-brainer. Like that's what I want a majority of my position outside of cash in. Like I want it to be in HEX. I want it working for me throughout this entire time of this bear market we're going through.
I mean, it's kind of like, think about it like this, right? If you had a 9 to 5, your rate of return on your time is fixed. Capiche? When you have something like crypto working for you, your rate of return is variable. However, over time, the guarantee is to you, because you are the house in this instance. The dollar is a consistently depreciating asset. It's always going down in value. You cannot lose when you're betting against the dollar. And that's something that you as a young man have to understand. Any young person that's listening. I mean, you know, look at us right now. We've been in HEX for a long time. We're over here talking like little kids. Right? We're excited because these prices is not anything we thought we were ever going to see again.
I'm so excited, dude. It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm sorry I had to leave for a second. I got some people fixing the stereo on my TV, but I wanted to say something to Jim Rat about the work thing. One more pile on you, buddy.
Go ahead.
I'm still working. I've got generational wealth that won't stop. I've got businesses that are generating wealth that, you know, could retire me from any job that I could have ever had. And I've got like 3 of those businesses. And HEX is, and the amount of Pulse that I've sacrificed for and PulseX that I've sacrificed for are also going to be generational wealth forever. But I'm still doing what Motley's doing. I'm still dollar costing in.
Yeah.
I still got a job, and I got a job for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm trying to finish up a project that I promised this company that I'm working for, and I'm not going to be able to lay my head on my pillow at night unless I say I finish this. But also, especially if I didn't have a bag like mine, and I was new, and I had gotten hacked, and I was in, man, I'd be getting every freaking penny that I can into this thing right now, because HEX's price is down. Pulse is coming out. Pulse X is coming out. These things are going to, more than likely, you're going to see 150, 250X. Why in the hell would you not be dollar costing into a system like that for at least another year or two? And I mean, and I'm not getting off because I know your personal situation is your personal situation, and
No,
to each his
I
own.
totally get it.
But right now, as much money as I could get right now, if I was a new person, if I was a young person, if I was getting in right now, I would be doing everything I could to put every freaking penny that I had into a system like this, because of what we've seen. When we first started and we were in the AA and we were dollar costing in, I mean, if I had it, if I had hindsight and I could go back and look at it, I would have done so much more. There would have been properties sold. There would have been all kinds of things. Now
You'd be looking at the Godwell 2.0, everyone.
We'd all be Godwells. But I looked at my situation, what my risk factor was, and 10% of my portfolio is really all that crypto can get, and that's what I did. Again, hindsight 2020 would have been aping myself in a lot more. Now, if I was to get in now, knowing what I know about the RH ecosystem, knowing what I know about all the people around me and what they're saying and how smart they are and how they've been watching this thing. Like, look at Wales, look at Motley, look at what these guys are saying on a regular basis. The reason they're saying what they're saying is because they've been through this already. They know what's coming. We've been watching this thing for 2 years, working within it for 2 years. So I would take heed of that. Everything that you can get that is not going to wreck you financially. Like, obviously you're living in a good life, but if you can get
to be honest, guys, I have so many things that I have to work on before I need, like, I'm not settled yet. Like, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, like, within the system. Like, I don't trust my security in 10 years yet. I don't trust my security in 8 years yet. I don't trust people at all. And I don't at all believe that, well, in the money thing, I totally get. Like, that's 100% true. And I am making money, and my expenses are like $800 a month. So for me, making money is like not that difficult. But the amount of money that I'm used to, of course, I could be making way, 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 way more and dumping it in 100%, 100% true.
That's the point.
But at the same time, it's like I was so far behind the learning curve. I would have never even been close to this point. I would have never even been in the position where I could learn.
Now you are.
Now you are. So what decisions are you going to make?
I'm just going to keep grinding and hustling like I am now. Like, I mean,
you don't gotta give an answer now, but you better think about it. Because
no, for sure. I appreciate this.
And if you really want to live how you're living now, it's best to operate from a position of strength. That was a whole message. That was a whole moral to my story yesterday. It's easy to talk shit and act like you're retired, but so the fuck what? It's still 2022. What the fuck are you doing? Right? What are you doing to maintain that position of strength? That's the question, because time doesn't stop. Change is the only constant. So you better be changing with time. And that means playing the game smart at all times. Right? Because it's cool when the shit was 50 cent. Nah, it's not a GRC intervention.
No. We're talking to everybody right now.
I'm talking to everybody, because my stream
is a smart financial thing. Like, what I was saying, like, just it doesn't matter whether you're in crypto or your business or you want to buy equity. Like, it doesn't matter. What he's saying is just intelligent moves to do.
Yeah, because people give the OGs a bad name because they say, "Oh, you guys got big bags. You can say whatever you want." Blah blah blah. But you know what? When it really comes down to it, the three guys here that you may call OGs, we care about you guys.
I'm not an OG.
We care
I didn't
because
show up till day 330, by the way.
Well, we grandfathered you in because of what
apparently,
you were teaching everybody. So, we cared about the community from day one. The reason that we did what we did, the streams that we did, we didn't make no money off of damn YouTube. I know Motley hasn't made a dime off of YouTube. I haven't made it costs me money every month.
I just give my super chats back out.
Right? It never does anything for us. But what we know is that we're educating people and we're helping people. And believe me, I want to help people that have smaller bags than mine. I want you guys to have bigger bags. But listen to what we're saying. Listen to what we're saying. You know, we know what we've been through and what you guys are about to go through. You know, position yourself good. Don't over leverage yourself at all. I would not suggest anybody over leverage themselves, but be ready for what's coming.
I slap up some of my earlier onboards all the time because like I know what their bags are and like we talk all the time off air, like in our own private group friend chat. And like they're like, yeah, you know, we're gonna retire too. I was like, bitch, I know the size of your bag. Like, yeah, it's decent, but like I didn't feel comfortable multiple X's above you guys before I even considered.
But how much overhead
just like
and
easing off
family
the
expectations did you have? Like you have overhead galore, and talking about when you had your houses and shit.
Oh yeah, but I mean, most of them were
my
revenue
overhead's
generating.
$800 a month. I look at people that are rich and I think they're broke. I'm like, y'all are broke.
A lot are.
You think paying
Shit, I can't pay for food with $800 a month.
You think paying $100,000 in overhead a month is freedom?
Here's what I'll tell you.
I ain't paying 100,000.
You know what I mean? No, that's what I'm talking to some people in general.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you,
Depends on the
GRC.
size of your bag.
you guys are in HEX, so you just
I pay my apartment now and food. That's it.
because you just HEX is just you just know HEX and you just understand it so well. Like, but that's the point that I'm getting to is where like I was spending $1,000 a month when I was working too. I don't spend shit.
That was
anymore.
part of my argument earlier, right?
Yeah.
You spend money to go to work. You got to eat out. You're not at home. You know, that's part of the thing. And look, and this is something I'll tell you. You got to realize that when you're out here and you're trying to figure out what everybody else is doing versus what you're doing, you got to ignore that because everybody else isn't as educated as you. Or they might be more educated than you, and you don't really know what they have going on. So the best thing you can do is give yourself as much, like, because look, I used to think like you were, I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot. And I know I don't need a lot. I don't need shit. If you come to my apartment, bro, it's bare bones. I don't need nothing. But here are the facts. Facts are you're best served by having a ridiculous reserve at all times because you never know what the hell is going to come out of nowhere and how it's going to service you. Or serve you to have that reserve in the first place. You just honestly don't know. And this is something I'm figuring out as I'm going through life. And I'm an old dude. I'm about to be 40 in like a few years. So you still not even 30. But you still not even 30. You know, take advantage of these lessons and think about them. Don't act on them, but think about them.
It was just always my mindset going through this whole process. And like, I mean, not even just this predated HEX too. It's just like, I just wanted to grind as hard as possible early on. So I didn't have to be that 65, 70-year-old waiting on my social security check, like scraping by. My body's broken down. I can't even enjoy retirement anymore. Like I never wanted to be in that position. I don't think any of us here or in this chat want to be in that position either. Like we want to set ourselves up so we can retire as early as possible, spend time with the family that matters to us most. Like we want that as early as possible. So what is grinding 1 or 2 more years when you found the right asset class that can grant you that freedom? What is 1 more 2 years of just maybe working the most absolute fucking shit job you hate? Is it really that much of a sacrifice if it buys you the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life? Like to me, that's nothing. Like I would grind the fuck out of the shittiest job in the world. And I've
been grinding my whole life, man. I'm 54.
Yeah.
I don't think grinding is the right word for it because it's like if you want to talk about grinding, I outgrind everyone I know. So if you want to talk, if this is about grinding, it's like I'll outgrind everyone every single day. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Doesn't matter who's paying me. Doesn't matter where the money's coming from.
Turn it towards capital, so then you can then harness that by an asset. Like
what can you do? I mean, just because I don't want to do.
But you just said you're essentially making the same now that you were before. So I wouldn't consider that grinding. You should be making more right now if you're really grinding as hard as you can.
I'm thinking that the information that I'm gaining over this period of time is more valuable than the excess money.
But during this period of time,
I'm going to get hacked again with
during this period of time, like HEX will outrun your grinding ability. It just will, as far as price appreciation, the yield comes.
That's
So
definitely
you,
guys.
so,
Yeah,
so
but it's
you,
like
so
I mean,
you,
$1,000
I
a
was
week
about
to
to
me.
exit
is-
every day.
J-Rat, I'm just trying to tell you, Hex
I
will
know.
outrun via price appreciation yield anything you can grind. It just will.
That's why.
So
I
like
sacrifice
when
people
you
to
get
be
that when you get
okay.
this opportunity, like you really do want to strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Here's
This
here's
dip
the
will
actual
disappear. This dip will disappear, and
here's the
it'll be
actual
I'll help
spot
it
on the
disappear,
chart.
hopefully in a little
It'll be
bit.
a spot on
like
the
if it
chart, and you'll be
disappeared.
like, man, if I could have got in down here, that would have been nice.
well, here's the actual counterpoint to GRC's statement.
Mhm.
And again, this is not an attack on GRC.
Oh,
it's
it's all-
just,
it's all-
it's common. It's no, because I used to be a young 20-year-old knucklehead. I know. I remember how I used to think. I think about
he's like, this is not against GRC. I used to be stupid.
yo, hey,
Everyone in my life has always told me I
It's
was
all of
wrong.
us.
It's
hold
stupid.
on. You want to know what's
No,
funny?
you ain't wrong.
People think I'll be talking to them in the chat, but I'm really talking to myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm talking to myself. All these times that I'm talking to just in general, that I'm like you, whatever, and people think I'm talking to them. No. I'm talking to me. This is how I learned all these things that I now know is by making all these dumb mistakes that I'm imploring you don't make, or that I'm advising you try to steer clear of, or at least think about what's being said. Because RG's making good points, Motley's making good points, I'm making good points. The valid points, you gotta think about it. Because you're talking to three dudes that one, you clearly know he gets it. RG, man defines pain. And you hear the pain in my voice when I speak. So learn from motherfuckers that have an idea.
Mhm.
Empirical evidence always leads to what really works. Right? So what that means is put your ideas aside and look at what the world is giving you. Nothing is put in front of you for no reason.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. No, it makes sense to me. I mean, again,
You're
I've
already in a
always
good
been pretty
spot.
unconventional, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but
and
that's the whole
it's
point.
100% correct.
Yeah, be unconventional. Don't do what everybody else is doing. You see everybody else chasing BS. We're telling you to chase
GRC, bro.
Nothing is chasing.
You're
Nobody's
not wrong. You're not wrong. You just may be inaccurate, and that's what you got to look at.
I get it. Hey, I've
Yeah.
been out here many a time in my life.
like your grouping is a little off. You're hitting the target, but your grouping is a little off, right? Because what you want to be doing is not what everybody else is doing, right?
Yeah.
And you're already partially doing that. But what everybody else is trying to do is that they're trying to amass dollars. They're not realizing that that's an epic failure, because those dollars are ultimately going to be worth less,
Mhm.
right?
Is that silhouette bullish? I can't tell. It's
I don't know
creepy as
what's
fuck
going on
though.
What do you got, Bullish? What do you got, brother?
It's
Well,
creepy.
like, no, I've just been in the background listening in, and to like the points. I can
That's
switch it
you?
up if you want. No, that's not me.
It
It
No,
just looks
clearly
better on
not
screen.
you,
It looks better on
but
screen.
you on
Uh,
screen.
Yeah, it's just a loop.
It's wild. I don't like it.
It's creepy.
I hope you. I hope you.
Yeah, bring back the Stillers.
There
Thank you.
So
Some random loop.
to both points, because I completely get what you're saying. I'm in a similar situation, and Jim and I have spoken about this. Like, this is the route he wants to go. Great, but we also need to focus on, not for me, but for him personally, and the same applies for Sam, because we've had these conversations. How can you increase your revenue while you're doing this?
Yeah.
What are other things you can be doing that's not related to crypto or shilling crypto or becoming a FUD, you know what I mean, or Furu? What can you
And
do
Bullish is
outside
the
of
expert at it.
right? What can you do outside of this to increase your revenue so you can continue to do this every day? So those are some of the things I've been focusing on with them. Me personally, I'm essentially getting out of Web3, getting into Web2, getting into Web3, because I can double or triple my income. So the same amount of output I'm putting now, I can double, triple my income just by switching over from Web2 to Web3. So those are one of the things I'm personally doing during the bear market to try to bring in as much capital as possible.
Caroline's awesome.
I've seen all the shit that you do, Bullish, and like it's wild. Like you definitely got it down. You're killing it.
So and for everyone, I think in the future we should do a show about ways people can save money, ways people can increase their revenue, because there's a lot of ways. Like I hear
100%.
people talk about DoorDash, Uber Eats. A lot of people don't know about Drizzly. So if anyone's paying attention, go to Drizzly, see if it's in your location. You will make more money in Drizzly in 2 hours than you would in 4 hours of DoorDash or Uber Eats, because people love to drink, and people who drink have no problem tipping.
Or if you want to just do stuff at home, there's rev.com, and you can literally just translate shit.
Yeah.
I literally had some big sheets of aluminum that I'd had on the side of my house for years that I was like, oh, one of these days I'm going to take them to the, recycle and get these things, And so finally, as Hex was getting started, I'm like, man, I gotta get rid of that shit and get that into Hex. And I did. And now I can't even tell you how much that is now, because that was like, that was when Hex was 0.0000 something, 5-6 cents or whatever, and that turned into a big piece of bag right there.
See, these are the kinds of lessons that people need to hear about, man. Right?
I remember I got rid of my watches. I love my watches, and I had like this just like small little collection. It was only like $5,000 to $7,000, but I would look at them and it's like, do I need all these? I was just like, if I sell them now, like I can buy them back tenfold over in the future. And this, like RG3 said, is very early on in Hex. And so like I sold all of them, but like I think I kept one. And yeah, like you said, it's wild when you look back on it. It's like it was such a smart decision to just get rid of all that useless crap, the Gary V style of the stuff you don't need. You're like, wow, that like $5,000 collection of watches I have now is just hundreds of thousands. It blows your mind.
Yep. And we're getting ready to see that again, because every time anything dips like this, it recovers, and then it makes all-time highs again. Look at Bitcoin. Look at all the dips.
Well, not anything. No. The right asset will recover. Let's word that better.
Things go to zero. It's different. When we see a rug pull, this isn't a rug pull. This is sideways. This is correction. This is shakeout. This is all that. It's distribution. That's what we're seeing.
We just did a 256X.
And it's healthy. It's healthy.
We just did a 256X. This is only 85% off of 256Xs. So less than 1X. Yes? Are we clear? Okay.
No. What are you talking about? 256X for what?
We had a run, 256X. Hex pump 256.
Yeah, from big payday to the September top, that was 256X price return.
Over the course of like a year and a half or something, 256?
I was at 10 months.
From 10 months ago to today, it was been 250?
No. It was a 10-month period.
Yeah, from November 2020, from November 20th, 2020 through September 19th, 2021, that was 256X, peak to trough.
Gotcha. I just didn't know what you were referencing when you were talking, if you're not giving context for it. Cool. I think this is super valuable information for a lot of people in here. Like, pay attention to what your goals are. A lot of the theme across here is, and
that's the theme right there. You nailed it.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. If you're feeling that you don't have enough cash or whatever the case is, control your expenses, but you can only cut expenses so much. But there's no upper limit to how much you can make.
That's right.
How creative are you? How resourceful are you? How hard do you want to hustle at it? And hustling doesn't necessarily have to be 18-hour days necessarily. It can be how hard are you willing to push yourself to think about things or talk to new people so you can learn new ideas and new ways of doing things and connecting in different ways. Because there's a lot of different ways to make money. A lot of different ways.
And
that's the key. That's the key right there.
Yeah. And there's a danger in us getting too deep into this stuff, because everybody's situation is different. I keep saying that. Everybody. So if you do have somebody that you trust in the ecosystem, that you can sit down in private and discuss your situation. Like, I know people have come to Motley, people come to me, people come to Wales, and help somebody that way, and find somebody that can help you with your situation. I've sat down with a lot of people and they've asked me this and that. This is my situation, and work your plan your work and work your plan, because again, everybody's time horizon, risk threshold, all that is different, and you need to figure that out on your own. None of this stuff is cookie cutter. You got to figure out what's going to work best for you.
And that's we're going to best for you based upon your goals and your objectives. And everybody tells themselves different stories about what shit means in the world. So that's part of what he's talking about. Like, you understand what you're telling yourself, because the shit that I tell myself is different than what these people tell themselves. And the same thing for GRC, same thing for Mountain Whales, except for everybody here tells themselves slightly different stories about their reality in life and what they want out of life. So figure that shit out and just follow your plan, like you were just saying.
The macros are all the same. The ocean's the same. It's how we all set our sails is different. That's it.
I think this is a great place to close, guys. This has been absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful you guys came on. Really awesome watching you guys do the same thing you're doing now, but taking a different role, right? It's you guys have, made businesses. You've changed a lot since then, but your ideas were exactly the same. And that's crazy if you really think about it. Like, you guys weren't, imagine any other crypto. You go back a year and they're saying the same shit. Come on, that's some bullshit. I know right
It's just
away.
like the hex code.
Do you understand why? But do you understand why that's possible?
Because it's software. It's done.
That's right.
It's the product. It's over.
That's right.
It's just like
That's right.
And it's incredible.
That's right.
So, guys, I'll leave you at that. Wow. Hex to the absolute moon. Pulse chain to the moon, guys. Prepare yourself for war, guys. Keep your little fingers off the sell button, you little dorks. I will be out of here.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Hart.